Hi, welcome to Always Growing. I'm Heidi.
I'm Dave.
Today we're going to talk about marriage and Mexican sponges, why repair attempts matter. So Dave, what in the world with the Mexican sponges? Can you tell us what Mexican sponges has to do with repair attempts?
I'm not even sure what that is supposed to be. I don't know, a Mexican sponge, but I don't know if it's different than regular sponges or whatever. But the point is not what it is.
That's true.
So
Hopefully that's
there's
not
a
mildly
show.
Offensive.
I don't think
anyway,
it is. I mean,
okay.
Anyways,
we do not intend to be offensive in Always Growing.
No.
Okay, go. There's a show.
iCarly. You may have seen it. It's kind of an older show though now.
Yeah.
Kind of a while ago. Anyway, so Carly basically has her internet show that she does, and then it's just the story of her life. And she's a teenager. And she has an older brother, Spencer, who's always, I don't know, I think maybe he's like supposed to be in his 20s or something.
He's like their caregiver because the
takes care of
parent is
them.
deployed.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, in the
but anyway,
military.
he's just kind of this like goofy, like older brother and kind of like childish and.
But fun.
But fun, yeah. So
In a
definitely
kind
fun.
way.
So Carly's, like kind of many episodes is having a bad day and like all these terrible things are happening to her. And so she's going on and on and on about this stuff to Spencer. And she just kind of like shows up, comes in the door and says, I've got all this stuff going on. It's terrible.
I think there's other like side characters also with her, like also flustered.
That are like also, there's all kinds of terrible things happening to her. So she's going on and on about it. And then like Spencer's just listening. He doesn't say anything. And then as soon as she stops talking, he's like, wait. Mexican sponges. Like he went to the grocery store and they're like special, I guess.
No,
he thought.
Went to the Mexican grocery store.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know all the details, but
whatever.
So basically, so the gist of that is that like she's just like in this terrible state of mind,
distress,
and like all he could think about was like the joy of like that one thing that happened to him. And that he acquired apparently, and then he just couldn't wait to like share that, and that was he thought I think to some extent either he was kind of listening, but I think to his like it'd be like it's all better now because I just got something amazing.
No, I think he's like he thinks he's going to tone down the drama of the moment.
Right, he's going to answer all the problems.
Hey, no problem. We got Mexican sponges.
Yeah,
That's
so life is good.
Yeah, right. This is this is a solution to all these problems. Is that I bought Mexican sponges.
Apparently, he thought they were special.
They were
in some
exciting.
way. I don't know why, but
no, that's good. So. A fascinating, iCarly episode. This is not an advertisement for that or anything, but it teaches us something that we need to know about repair attempts. So that's what Spencer was trying to do in these relationships, is to make a repair attempt, which is there's a problem. We can switch gears, if you will. So repair attempts are the thing that help us start the process. It's not the solution to the problems. It's the thing that helps us start the process to think a different way, to change directions, to change focuses. That's what a repair attempt is. And so the question, what is a repair attempt, is really a concept defined by John and Julie Gottman. They're two doctors that do a lot of marriage research, and you can check them out at Gottman.com. Also not an advertisement for that, but go check it out. It's good stuff. And they talk about repair attempts as a prominent, the repair attempts as any statement or action, silly or otherwise, I think I inserted that prevents negativity from escalating out of control. So this is really relevant to arguments. What kind of places in arguments do you think start that kind of negativity cycle? Like what kinds of things, what topics or what things kind of poke at us during an argument that create something that needs a repair attempt to grab onto it?
Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of probably more arguments where it's not like we're going back and forth necessarily like attacking each other, although that could be, I guess that could work. But I was thinking of where it's like it's just everything. Everything's negative. You're just like
you kind of switched
in the dump
flipped a switch.
of talking about
trying to
something.
communicate.
You know, you're both frustrated. You're both kind of like, this is not good. You know,
it's not going somewhere.
And you know, you're not helping. I'm not helping. You know,
Yeah.
nothing is happening. That's like good news. It's just all.
we're just now on a rotation.
All bad.
We are on the merry-go-round of negativity. Yeah. I mean, I think this happens, some outside things come in. Well, some internal stuff is like where you start to not feel heard by the other person. Like you feel like you're each kind of communicating to a wall to some degree. You know, whether that's because of the topic or just like you're tired or whatever. I think about having small children and how hard it is to sometimes have like a productive conversation without the interruptions that need to be had for kind of some big topics or some things that are frustrating for your marriage. You know, kids ask for snacks a lot. And you're like, we're talking about, you know, whether we're going to go to grandma's funeral or something like really stressful.
But you know, that's funny that you mentioned that though, because sometimes like a kid's interruption actually helps an argument.
Right. Well, and that's the switch. Like sometimes you just need something to be like, whoa, get off the train. Like, you know, or I think, so you can throw this at each other is basically the idea. Like, I mean, in a kind way. Like, repair attempts are kindness reaching out.
Right.
I want
it's not,
to be able to communicate better. It's not ever, a repair attempt is never something critical. It's never something that would be persnickety or poking at your spouse. Instead, so one reason we created Mexican sponges as one of our repair attempts is because sometimes you need something inorganic. Like you need something intentional that says, hey, whoa, I noticed the train's coming. Like, you know, to each other. So one of us is allowed to say Mexican sponges and be like, it just kind of makes us laugh and helps us get to a place where we can just be like, oh gosh, we should probably let that set for like 15 minutes or 24 hours or whatever. Or, oh wow, yes, we were getting there. Some things are more organic when you talk about repair attempts. So you probably already have some repair attempts you already use as a couple. So consider, what are your repair attempts that you're currently using? You know, kind of look for them maybe in the next week. Jot them down or whatever. And then also come up with one that you might use that's more intentional, like some phrase or something. So some organic ones are like touching the person in some way, you know, like touching someone's shoulder or back, or just kind of getting closer, maybe on the couch, to like let the person know like you're here, you're invested, you know that the train's coming, and maybe that sometimes physical touch can really reset that for people. And so you might already know that about your spouse, but not consciously. These are things we kind of do subconsciously. Other people, repair attempts might be a joke. Like you know, Mexican sponges is a little bit like that, but sometimes people subconsciously make a little bit of a joke to connect with that person in the moment, to kind of throw them off that negative
It's kind
track.
of like it's kind of like a risky move though, because you know, like you kind of can throw in a repair attempt, but then if the other person is not catching it, it's like, how dare you try to like ease this problem with your silly comments? You know what I mean? You got to
know your audience, just like any other time.
It's got to be something like the failure of the show was that like Carly could care less. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it didn't work. But like if that was a particular interest to her, then that repair attempt would work really, really well. Yeah,
and I mean, I think it's more on a spectrum than that. Like, it's not like doesn't work or works. Like, I think that mildly worked, because it did take them off the drama train.
Right.
It didn't solve the problem. So, like, again, with repair attempts, we're trying to get to a place where we can start to have a reasonable conversation, or start to be able to like care and communicate for one another.
Right.
So I think it worked a little bit, just because it helped that like drama was up here, and it brought it here.
Change the subject a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean sometimes people are like, in your marriage, many times your arguments and your frustrations are legitimate. Like you're not just making stuff up. I think about the fact that we tend to need repair attempts in conversations about finances, because I have a low capacity for discussing finances for any length of time, and no matter what, there's limited income. I mean, we are so blessed, and I think a lot of people watching will be like, we are privileged people, like we are blessed. But no matter how much you make, there's this emotional sensation that feels like it's limited. And there's a lot of organization that goes into finances and a lot of other aspects tied to it. And so, being able to say, oh, we talked about that long enough, whatever, just being able to jump in and be like, okay, we need a moment. We need to reassess. We need to step back. That's the idea of the repair attempt. And so we'll put the link to Gottman.com so you can look up some articles they have on repair attempts, because they'll also identify the ones they've seen in research, show up more. Like the touching one is, I know, one that's big in research. Certain phrases are big in research. Making a joke, those are big in research, but there's some other
humor
ones.
As long as it's a good humor.
Yeah,
maybe that's the key.
Even sarcasm can be a little bit of a repair attempt for some people. But that's one that they say in articles very clearly, be careful.
Usually a risky one, yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah, it really is specific to each couple.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool if you think about it, that we're unique as a couple, and you all are unique as a couple. And while there's some insights to be had, and that's why I like the Gottman stuff, is it's research, thousands of couples and kind of identifying some commonalities. But that doesn't mean that, I don't know any other couple that uses Mexican sponges. You're going to be, you're going to be unique. You're going to be unique. And so allowing that, I think sometimes you've done this before. I did not see this as a repair attempt for a long time, and we're going to wrap up here, but you would be like, are you hungry? And I kind of would be offended by that. I think that was one that was maybe risky on your behalf. But sometimes if you hand me a snack or things like that, that really does help, because part of all those other external things and internal things go into that. Is I feel grouchy. We're usually trying to have this conversation at 5 o'clock, 5:30 at night, and we're hungry, and stuff like that. So just know that just kind of figuring out your repair attempts is one step, and then also instituting repair attempts. So, just kind of research yourselves a little bit and figure out what might be most helpful to you. And if you need ideas, you can check out Gottman.com and the article that I'll link in the show notes from CPH that I wrote too. All right, Mexican sponges.
All right.
Thanks. We'll see you next time.
See ya.